Now that we have all these pairs in, we're going to do the same thing only with the middle layer. So we're going to start off exactly the same way. Now, we're not going to move these at all. These are going to be fine the way that they are, as long as it's positioned to where you have the pairs on either side of the fault line. So what I'm going to do is start off with the bottom here. Here's a red. Let's borrow it from the bottom. Is there a red from the bottom I can use? Sure. Just remember to move them independently. If you get a little skewed, you got to remember to turn it back. So take this here, turn it, this is paired. We'll then move this twice and look for a blue one on the bottom. Here's a blue one on the bottom. Actually, there's one already set up over here. Double turn, this is in. We also put an orange one in. How cool is that? Move twice here. Now we're going to look for a red one on the bottom. If we have one, we do. So we're going to move this once like this, which puts this red one not quite in. Now I can move it here to put the red one in, but do I really want to do that? Because I'm going to destroy this green one. So I'm not so sure I want to do that unless there's another red. If there isn't, then forget about it. So I'm just going to kind of move on here to maybe, I'm actually going to move it back, because maybe I can move the red one down to the red one here. So move it on the side over here. So this is better because I'm not going to destroy the green one. So this red will match this red over here. And I'm not destroying anything. So 2R, and that's in over here. So let's see what else we can get. Here's a white one here. Let's swing this white one around here and see where things go. So as you can see, I got to be kind of careful with the movement just so I don't throw anything out. Here's the white one here. And it's pretty good because I'm not going to destroy this green pair. It's at the proper side of the fault line, and I'm not going to destroy anything here. So double turn, and now we've got whites. We've got an orange here. Maybe we can move this orange one in. Maybe we'll get lucky. This orange can indeed come here. It's not going to mess this up. This is a triad, so that's okay, because these two will still be maintained, and bang. So now we've got this in. So we're finding that we're pairing a good number of them. Which ones are orphaned? Well, I got a blue here, and I finally have a blue on the bottom. So let's move this blue by a fault line right here, and let's match it up with the blue down here. Actually, I've got two blues. Well, nope, just this blue. Does this work? Well, no, because I'm going to slice into this green. So this blue won't comfortably come down to here. So what I'll do then is let's move this blue to the side, and I'll move this blue, extend this further, just like this. All right, by doing that, I did move the green out of the way. I accidentally dragged my fault with me. So we just have to reposition. That's the somewhat frustrating thing about this puzzle. All right, so here's the blue. I'm not destroying any faults over here. Here's the blue over here. I will be destroying this orange. Now, in order to make it worthwhile is I want to put in more than I'm destroying, but I'm not. So I may put this blue pair in, but I'll be destroying a perfectly good orange pair. So we're not going to do that. What if I were to focus on these yellows here? So why don't I take one yellow, put it at the side of the fault line here, and now let's roll this around and see what we got. And as you can see, this green is going to be in the way, so what I'm going to do is move this to the side here, and then take this yellow one and move this to the side here. But again, we're kind of caught in a trap because I'm going to destroy the white one. So these wayward blues and wayward yellows are giving us trouble. So we're going to have to find another way around this. And that's going to be, again, finding complementary layers. So maybe complementary pairs. So maybe I can combine these two and these two, perhaps. Which means I might end up with Orphaned. Now, this one is going to be a little more difficult to visualize because, you know, you're a layer down. Okay, after playing around with it for a little bit, what I have is I'm matching up now the blues and the whites. And I've got 3 whites over here, an orphaned blue over here, and an orphaned blue and white over here, and 2 blues over here. But The thing that I like about this is that I've got two on the opposite end of the fault line. Remember, this is the fault line. It's a little harder to visualize, but I've got a blue here. Opposite that, I've got a white. Just above that, I've got a blue. Opposite that, a white. So if I move both of these at the opposite ends of the fault lines across from each other, maybe I can move them in next to each other. So I'll just move this over here. So white, blue, blue, white. Luckily, I'm not going to disrupt any of my pairs over here. So we'll just move that in, and here we go. So now I've got a white and blue over here, two whites, so I'm going to keep that as a pair, and this is a pair over here. So what I'm going to try to do now is coordinate it to where these two are going to be above and below each other. So let's see about just finding a way to, any old way, move them down. Now because these are paired now, there shouldn't be any problems doing that, hopefully. So I'm going to hold it like this and just move these two down so that they're opposites, just like that. So now what I'm going to do is move them directly opposite each other on their own fault line. I think like this. Now, are they actual complementary to each other? And the answer is in this case no, because if you notice, if I move this down, it just goes back to the white. And this just goes back to the, this blue goes to the white over here. So if I turn this, I'm just going to end up right back where I started from. But it's a start because I do have these made available to me. All right, so maybe what I can do is try to shake it up a little bit. We'll move this to the side here, perhaps, so that this is a little off center now, and double turn. All right, it kind of reorganizes this a little bit. Now we'll turn this back like so, and move this in. Move this back here, and move this in. Okay, so what that did is that got these two, these two, these two, and these two. So it just put those in. So it's really, I don't have a specific algorithm for you, but what you want to do is get as many as you can, get it down to the last two, and then just keep doing two of the same color. And then just, if you can get it to where you have two in, even if it's different colors, white and blue, blue and white, get them opposite each other, then you can maybe get it. Might as well get this back in here. Okay, now that we have this, now that we have all of these in, we're going to try to put this in the proper pattern here. So what I'm going to do is, up here you can see we have too many greens up here. So what I'm going to do is put 3 of different colors on one side, like over here. We have a, well, I guess we can do it from here too. Green, red, and white. So now I'm going to just work on putting the opposite ones here. So the opposite here, opposite green, is going to be blue, orange, and yellow. So everything is right except here. I need to get a blue into here. So I'm going to borrow the blue on the bottom in order to do that. Move this down here. Turn this like so. Move this back up. Now this blue is not where it needs to be. And I want to get the blue right next to this. So move this here. Okay, when I move this down, I want this blue to be able to be right next to it to receive it. So, turn it down. So now the blue is here. Move it back. And move it up. All right, so that was just positioning. So I've got blue opposite green, orange opposite red, yellow opposite white. So what I want to do now is, before I head to this part here, is I want to do the same thing only on this side. So I want to match up these two sides over here. So what I'll do is, let's find something that's in. Here's, say, the green one. And there's the red one over here as well. So why don't we try to put the white one in? The white one is going to be borrowed from this bottom part over here. So I'm going to move this to the side. Move the white one to the side here. Now I've got to kind of get rid of this yellow one. So that's what I'm going to do. So turn it over here, and my goal again is to take this yellow one out and move the red one right up to the end here, right up to the end. So double turn it here, get my bearings here, double turn it here, move this to the side, and then turn it back. Now the reason that I did that is because now I'm going to move the white one in place, which will coincide right with the red one here. Red one over here. So I'm going to turn it once again here. So now this white matches the red, and now I'm just going to move it back like so, and then move it up. So you can see these all line up over here. Okay, what I want to do now is get these in. So this is blue, orange, and yellow. I want blue, orange, and yellow over here. I've got the blue one here. So I want to assemble it on the bottom, but it's going to be coming this way, because when I turn it, it's going to be opposite. So blue, orange, and yellow, I'm going to do blue, orange, and yellow down here, because when I turn it, it'll be opposite. So blue, orange, and yellow will translate into blue, orange, and yellow over here. So here's orange and yellow, but this is the wrong side. Okay. So I want to match this blue to an orange over here. So why don't I move this over here? And I'm going to blast all of these out. So turn this over here, and I'm going to move the blue all the way to the end. And move it out here. Now I did that because I want to put in a yellow one where it's supposed to be, an orange one rather, where it's supposed to be. So I need to get an orange one right over here, right where this is. So let's put an orange on the bottom here, right at the line. Because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this blue and move it right next to the orange in the proper position, because this orange is going to have to coincide with this. So again, blue, orange, yellow. So down here it's got to be blue, orange, yellow, because when I turn it up, it's going to be opposite. Well, here's the blue here. Double turn, so I've got this in the proper place. And just to show that, I'm going to bring this up here and move it up. So blue, orange, and you can see the blue and orange is over here. So now what I need is I need to move in a yellow, but I need the yellow here. So blue and orange, this blue and orange will coincide when it flips over here, but I got to put a yellow right on this side here. So I'm going to line a yellow up just to the side here. Okay, and the reason that I did that is because this blue and orange, which will flip over to here to be just under these, has to have a yellow on this side, or just to the right of this orange, just like this yellow is just to the right of this orange. So I'm going to double turn it here, there it is here, and now I can move it back and move it up. Okay, so the end result is I have these two layers coincide with each other. Now the final part of this, which is more than just intuitive, we now need to put these layers in. I'm going to do this top layer first. This is going to be the complementary layer to the bottom, and I'm going to be using that algorithm to move things in. So let's see what we've already got in. Let's see what's already available to us. All right, well, here's a red. Let's actually get something close to the fault line here. So here's the green. Right next to green has to be orange, yellow rather, yellow. And the yellow's over here. So how am I going to get the yellow to here? Well, I can't move it in from here. These are going to be fixed. So I'm going to move this up like so. I got to get the yellow here. This is still going to be fixed. Move it one more. The problem is I can't move it out of here because, well, this is fixed. All these three are fixed. This yellow's got to come up over here. Maybe there's something easier I can do. Let's do the algorithm once, which is going to move this to here. That way it's going to bat this out of the way so that when I move this around, this won't be stuck in a position, the wrong position. So we have 2R, U, 2R, UI, DI, 2R, D, 2R. Then we do a U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, DI, 2R, D, 2R. Now notice we didn't mess up anything down here, but let's take stock in what we've got now. So I'm going to move this over here, and I did blast that over to here. Now I want this to be next to the green. So as you recall, what this algorithm does is it keeps these the same. This comes up to here, this comes up to here, and this comes down to here. So I'm going to move this to here and to here so that this is free to this is opened up and this is free to move as well. So these will stay the same. So I'm going to actually have to do the algorithm 2 times, 2 sets basically. So it's 4 algorithms in all in order to move this here. So 2R U, 2R UI, DI, 2R, D, 2R. Then we do a U and start again. 2R, U, 2R, UI, DI, 2R, DI, or rather D, 2R. And now let's take stock on where we're at, just to gain our perspective here. This is almost next to it. So let's move it up again, and again, and now this will come up here with the next set. 2R, U, 2R, UI, DI, 2R, D, 2R, do a U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, DI, 2R, D, 2R, and as promised, there it is. So bit by bit, step by step. Ignore this middle part, so this is in, and now we've got to rotate these guys around. Well, what's got to come here? Well, we have to have an orange one here. So how are we going to move that? Well, these are all protected over here. So once again, I've got to take this, I've got to move this up, because if I move this here, this ain't going no place, even if this is open. I can try to see if maybe a red can come over to here, but this is protected, and as is this. So we have to once again blast this out. So 2R U, 2R UI, DI, 2R, DI, or rather D, 2R. Then do a U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, DI, 2R, D, R. Okay, let's take stock in what we've got. Moving this here, you can see this is in, this is in. Orange needs to come here. This is now free to do that. So let's move this over here. So now we can actually do it, but we have to do it twice. With one, yeah, so this is going to come here, then down here. So we do it twice. So it's a pretty straightforward algorithm, not a lot of surprises. Good, good, and good. So we can keep these all in here, and with one more set of the algorithm, this white will come into here, this blue will come here, this red will come here. So one more time here, 2R, U, 2R, UI, DI, 2R, D, 2R. Separate out with a U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, DI, 2R, D, 2R. And now we can move this back. So green is in, yellow is in, orange is in, blue is in, white, red, and green. So we just do the last layer here. Will we get lucky? Well, let's see what's already in. Let's move the green one in here. And as you can see, this is in, the orange one is in. And actually when I think about it, well, no, just the orange and the green one are in over here. So what I want to do is I want to get the yellow one over to here. Where's the yellow? The yellow's right here. So we'll have to have to continue to keep trying to visualize what's going on here. So I'm going to move this into the ready position, which, if you can visualize it, is going to be protected, protected, protected. So I'm going to have to move it like this. Protected, 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 not protected, and not. So one algorithm will move this orange to here. So we do 2R. Now we're only moving these two. So understand, these two stay exactly the same. These two layers. These two are the ones that are moving, because these two are the ones that are kind of foiling with each other. So 2R. Now our U is over here, so be careful. U, 2R. And now the UI is here. UI. And then this is the DI over here. DI. 2R. And then D and 2R. All right, now we have to do a U to separate it out, and do it again. 2R, U, 2R, UI, DI, 2R, takes a steady hand, a little bit of patience, D, 2R. Okay, let's see what that left us with. Well, not a lot. Okay, it turns out I had to do it twice, so this has to move into here. So let's go ahead and move this back up again. Okay, so what I want is I want the yellow one up. So this one has to move in. I made a mistake, I thought it was an orange. So let's go ahead and do the yellow one. And 2R. Now we got it. Now that's better. See? This is in, this is in. Now we need the orange one. This is protected, the orange one is here. So I'm going to move this up here so that protected, 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 and now one algorithm should take this and put this over here. So here we go again. 2R, U, 2R, UI, DI, 2R, D, and 2R. Do a U, and do it again. 2R, U, 2R, UI, DI, 2R, D, 2R. Okay, looking good. We now have blue, yellow, and orange. So now we can thankfully hold this steady and just try to flip these other guys around here. Okay, these two guys need to flip. So this is an interesting configuration here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the algorithm again. What it's going to do is these are going to be protected here. This red is going to come where it needs to be, so that'll be fine over there. We're going to end up with something of a parity at the end, and I'll show you why. So let's do it again. This will come up here, this will come here, and this will come here. So at least the red one will be in. So let's take stock in what we got. Everything is in except for these two. Now, to get out of this situation, to get out of this particular configuration, we're going to have to flip these two. To flip these two, so I'm going to start off here and just do this algorithm 6 times, separating each one with a U, and watch what happens. So we have 2R, U, 2R, UI, DI, 2R, D, 2R. So that's 1. Separated by a U, and keep going with the second one now. 2R, U, 2R, UI, DI, 2R, di 2r. That's the second one. Now we just keep going, separated by another u, and then we go 2r, u, 2r, ui, di, 2r, d, 2r, and then we keep going with another u. I believe this is the third now, and do it again, 2r, u, 2r, ui, di, 2r, d, 2r, and then we keep going, almost there, with another u. Then we have 2r, u, 2r, ui, di, 2r, di, 2r, and I think we have one more with a u. Yeah, then we have 2r, u, 2r, ui, di, 2r, ui, and 2r. And we did it. Wow. So the super square one column puzzle is solved. And that's the technique. And it was just that one algorithm. Remember, what happens with that algorithm, these are kept the same. This comes to here, this comes to here, and this comes to here. If you're ever in a parity where you just have two, just keep running around it, running around the whole algorithm 6 times total. Placing it is a challenge. That's the hardest part, especially when you're down to 2. Just find 2 colors, 2 separate colors that you can put 2 pairs in and just get it in as best you can. I tried to guide it as much as I could with a strategy. That can take some time, but you'll eventually get it. All you need is the algorithm to get through this. So cute little puzzle. I do recommend it. Nice little challenge. Thanks for watching.